He would have paid Ric Flair to come on board and be. Come on, he would have been a limousine ride. He would have optioned Space Mountain. It would be Ric Flair Space Mountain.
You gotta. That's true. He did put that on the map.
Space Mountain sponsored by Ric Flair.
Space Mountain sponsored by Ric Flair.
Yeah,
RCA
he
never
did
happened
put that on
Ric
the
Flair.
map. That's fair. Not to jump off of things, but that's fair.
Oh wait, so
Ric
when you're
Flair
going
put
through the
that on
Star
map.
Tunnel, you don't hear that weird ethereal sound. You hear woo, woo, woo.
16 times.
Limousine riding, jet flying.
Son of a gun.
Son of a gun.
When I'm human, and I'm gonna blow my horn till the cows come home, and everyone's gonna bow down to me. Hey guys, how you doing? It's Michael Leon Woolley, the voice of Louis the Alligator from the Disney movie The Princess and the Frog, and you're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Rachel.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of
The Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way.
Magic Our Way. Magic Our Way. The Magic Our Way podcast. They are truly magical and whatnot.
Asante Sana, everyone. You're listening to the happiest podcast on earth, the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana. And on this show, we invite you to feel the libation.
Feel it, brother.
Whoa. The hell was that? Ow.
Oh my God.
Switch to decaf, huh?
What's that?
Oh my God.
What the hell just happened? My loins hurt.
I don't know. I was intimidated, though.
I know. Look, we are not. I don't know what the hell.
Oh my goodness.
We are artistic buffs and not artistic cream puffs, although that last episode will make you question that.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Man.
Maybe I'm cream puffy. I don't know.
That was
Look,
fun.
this is a show in which every opinion is welcome. MagicOurWay.com is where you can find us. In this episode, this is part 1 of where we discuss pro wrestling and Disney, our top moments when those worlds have crossed paths. And look, this isn't your typical polish, practice, Pixie Dozen Disney podcast. No way. We are not in the parks every day to let you know that Coca-Cola is now sponsoring Sleepy Hollow refreshments in Walt Disney World.
That's right, Kev. We're just here to drink, talk some Disney, and give you something to wrestle with.
That's it. And you guys have the easy part. All you guys have to do is to listen up to what we think up while we drink up, brother.
My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
I'm Eli.
And Rachel is out today as she's off honing our TA product knowledge aboard a Royal Caribbean boat.
She's the only one of us that's warm right now.
I know.
I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So we definitely looking forward to hearing about her warm adventures when she gets back. But look, we have a special guest. Special guest. Who be you?
No, I won't bite it for much longer because my heart's racing after that. The whole Eli thing just now.
Oh, we got concerns now.
You okay?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
okay?
If your blood's pumping, that's good. That's adrenaline that you're feeling.
At your age,
well, I mean,
it's
usually
great.
when Hulk Hogan does that, you feel inspired and everything, not afraid. God damn.
Look, when you have an erection that lasts 4
I
hours
mean,
or
you know,
more,
yeah, I was
you
gonna
could consult
say.
a doctor.
I mean, if it depends on the rest of your felt. I mean,
Well, I mean, I
if you
expect
felt
Eli to give me an
something-
erection that lasts for more than 4 hours, not to.
It gave you an erection.
Either way, you
No.
need to see a doctor. I don't know.
I mean, like, damn, I was just feeling the show. I mean,
You need to visit Dr. Chardonnay and I'll handle that right now.
Can I just hold hands and
Dr. Facilier.
I don't get nowhere near him now.
No? Wow. Okay.
Well, that's what happens when you get this much power. And then, like, you know, no one was have nothing.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Eli.
That's it.
Great Eli.
I was pumped. This is awesome. This is awesome.
You
So
are
I'm looking
pumped.
forward
You
to
are
the
pumped.
subject. And I'm looking forward to see that you are here, my tag team partner.
Nice. I like that. now I feel better. Now I feel like you're not going to jump over the table and attack me.
No, I would never do that.
Yeah, but he would attack you for other reasons.
No, I won't be over the table. You can do that somewhere else.
Oh, no, but no.
Like,
I mean, the table.
I would never jump on your bed while you're in it. I would never jump on your
So
bed while
Danny's
you're in
just
it.
saying he's going to exclude us. We don't get to see any of it.
Yes.
So it's all right.
Well, as long as we can watch.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's his point. They want
Oh.
privacy. I don't know.
No. I just don't want
I
his
feel
big ass
slighted.
jumping over the table.
That's just selfish.
No.
You just want his big ass.
That's just how the excitement that I have for this show is coming forth. And that is how projection is done. That's how a shoot is done. You know this.
And ladies and
I'll feel
gentlemen, as you can tell, Rachel is not on the show.
Rachel is not here.
She's definitely not on the show.
I wish she was on the show. I really wish she was on the
Stuff
show
happening.
right now.
Look, the easiest way to support us is to book your next vacation with Rachel, in fact. And also, you can leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and wherever you access our show. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode of the Magic Our Way podcast. Also, we want to thank our Patreon supporters for all that they do for us. Alrighty, y'all, enough of our jibber jabber. Let's talk about wrestling and Disney.
Hit him with the hub.
Welcome to the Hub, the big topic segment of our show. And as we mentioned at the top of the show, we are discussing our top moments from when the worlds of pro wrestling and Disney have collided in an all-out cage match, the likes of which you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Good God!
He's broken in half.
Now, look, to give a little context to our discussion, all y'all listening to this show are well aware that we are Disney fans, no doubt.
Yes.
But if you had listened long enough, you may have picked up that some of us are also fans of pro wrestling as well.
Oh, definitely.
You know, Danny,
Yeah.
Eli,
Yeah.
Kirk, of course.
Little bit,
you know,
little bit.
He even met you. Or this past weekend went to an event, and that was in town. Yeah, Yeah.
WWE SmackDown Live at the Smoothie King Center.
That's
and The
right.
Rock showed up.
And The Rock
Yes.
was there. He was all rockish.
Yeah, he knocked out all the audio for like 5 minutes for us watching on
Really?
TV without the privilege.
I heard
of
all the
being
audio.
there. I know.
He dropped all the F-bombs, all the S-bombs.
You caught it. That's right.
That's why I had to text you. Thank you for helping me with that.
and announced that WrestleMania 42 was going to be live. And is it still Mercedes-Benz? No, Caesar
it's
Superdome.
Caesar, yeah.
Superdome in New Orleans.
Nolans. We've
Love
never
it.
missed one yet.
And look, I'm not as big of a wrestling fan as these guys are, but you know, my fandom like kind of peaked in the '80s. You know, that wrestling time, WWF, Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Big Boss Man, Superfly Snooker. Got to throw him in there.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All
Fair
those
enough.
guys. So while Rachel's out of town, Danny and I came up with this idea to dedicate a show about this very topic, as there are numerous accounts of when pro wrestling and Disney cross paths.
Yeah, Rachel's going to get back and see what we recorded about and go, whew. Glad I missed that one.
I don't know. This is like Peter Butt meet gold. I didn't think these two things could come together, but,
Oh, but
yet
they
y'all made
have.
it happen.
Oh, they have
Often.
quite a few times. There's going to be a
Often.
lot that gets left out because we found so much.
Yeah.
But we just wanted to concentrate on a few stories that we thought were entertaining, shall we say?
Entertaining, interesting for sure. Maybe we'll address those other stories in another show.
Historically
but-
beneficial?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, well, get to it, brothers.
Now, for a lot of you out there, maybe not wrestling fans, or maybe you are, when you think of pro wrestling and Disney, the first name you think of, especially as of late, is who?
If you smell
Thank you,
la.
yes.
what the Rock is cooking.
The
The-
final boss.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is currently big in the Disney universe, most recently as the voice of Maui in the Pixar movie Moana and Moana 2, the boat skipper Frank Wolf in the 2021 Disney movie Jungle Cruise with Emily Blunt, and before that, he played Jack Bruno in the 2009 remake of Race to Witch Mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and before that, he was Joe Kingman in the 2007 Disney sports comedy The Game Plan.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that. So anyway, the other name some people may have yelled out to their stereos or however the listeners podcast is Bautista. You know,
Guardians of the
yeah,
Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy, that whole thing. Yeah, but he's compared to The Rock, he's kind of secondary.
Yeah, he's not a leading man.
Yeah, The Rock really opened it up.
He was it.
Yeah.
he's
Batista
it.
always follows last. Like, I ain't worried about Batista.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, before these guys, there were several other instances in which the worlds of pro wrestling and Disney have collided. So join us while we take you down memory lane.
Ooh,
Yes.
please do, sir.
Okay.
Take us down that aisle.
All right, to start, the attractions, first of all, cross paths with pro wrestling. And the most significant example of this is in the Carousel of Progress, as it's been shown for over 30 years now. Before I tell you about this particular instance, let me give you some context as to when this takes place during the attraction, right? Just so you know where you might have seen this wrestling thing.
I was going to say, because those two things, they don't just mix. Like, that did.
It's kind of almost like oil and water, but
Wrestling's been around for a long, long, long time.
yeah, that's been on there. And when you hear this, you'll understand what she was. I'm getting into it.
Oh, yeah, please do. Yeah.
All
I
right.
just was like, what?
Wait, I'm curious if Kirk knows this. Kirk's kind of
Oh.
a Carousel of Progress aficionado.
That wrestling has something to do with the Carousel of Progress?
Yes.
I do. I do.
Okay, you do know this.
Yeah, that's your big lug.
Ah,
Hey!
well.
Well, the scene that Kirk is referencing is in the third scene, which is set in the 1940s, where John is talking about having a new experience called the Rat Race, in which he takes part in a thing called commuting. His mother, I'm assuming it's his mother, says that that's what's called progress, dear. And then John goes into a spiel about how they now have television and they get the news. And then you cut to a side scene behind a scrim in which you see Grandma in front of the TV watching some dancing show, and then Grandpa snoring. And then Grandma asks to confirm if Grandpa is asleep. He doesn't respond, and then proceeds to switch the television channel to a mano-a-mano battle between two humans, which she is completely into. So just give you a little bit of what's happening in this particular scene, let me go ahead and play this part of the ride for you guys. And so if you're listening on the podcast, you can check it out. I'm going to share it with these guys here in studio.
Okay.
But we do have television when it works. Gives you something to do after you come home. I kind of like it, you know? Guy named John Cameron Swayze gives us all the news. And then they have all this singing and dancing. A lot of fluff, but it's fun. You know, I predict the day when millions of people will learn Latin and Greek sitting in front of their TV sets.
Are you awake, Beans? Give him a left, you big lord.
Yep, there you go. And then the show moves on.
Oh, I've always
Essentially,
thought
yeah.
that was boxing.
Yeah, I thought so too.
That's Grandma watching wrestling.
Oh, wow.
She is definitely watching wrestling. And of course, it's a black and white clip of two wrestlers and a referee. And once again, the internet prevails as they have been able to identify what the wrestling match is.
About to say, who is that? Yeah, black and white's before our time.
Well, it's not before our time and not even of this country because it's not from any American pro wrestling institution.
Oh, boy, no Gorgeous George?
Nothing like that. So just to credit this person for finding it, there's a Reddit user by the name of King of Old School 88 who was able to discover the exact clip of wrestling match that Grandma is watching.
Wow.
And he describes it's a fascinating bit of research where he went through each piece of footage that he could find from the 1940s and 1950s and was able to determine the footage Grandma was watching by matching the design of the ring and what the referee was wearing to figure out what that thing. It's a match that took place in 1951 in Paris, France between René Ben Chamoul and Gypsy Guy Laroche.
That's pretty good French you got right there.
Oh, thank you. I I'm glad I live in an area where I can handle those names.
That's tough.
Kev, you spoke French.
Yeah, that's such a small picture on there that like props to him to find that.
Yes.
Like, wow.
That's dedication.
That is
Dedication.
He's king of old school for a reason, man. I think that name fits him for finding that clip.
I think that's props, though, just to clarify that it's not boxing that she's watching, that it's wrestling.
It's definitely wrestling. Yes.
I dig that.
Yes. So speaking of wrestling, it's time for the tail of the tape.
Boom.
All right. And in this corner from Paris, France, we have a singles wrestler with 63 years of in-ring experience, a wrestler most prominently associated with the Fédération Internationale de Lutte et de Combat, a wrestling legacy as he is the son of French professional wrestler Albert Ben Chamoul, holder of the 1950 World Lightweight title, the European Middleweight title in 1962 and 1963, and the World Middleweight title in 1961 and 1965. He is nicknamed Tigre de la Lutte. It is René Ben Chamoul. Hey. And then in the other corner, well, not much can be found about this European pro wrestler.
Oh, my.
Okay. It really wasn't. I tried looking for this dude, but the only thing I could find is that he was a rule-bending French middleweight. Who I know.
From parts unknown.
Exactly.
Always difficult to research parts unknown.
No,
Yes.
exactly.
He always made frequent visits to the United Kingdom during the 1950s, and that's all I was able to find out. Maybe he might have been like a low or mid Carter or something, to use my terms. But anyway, in this corner, it's Gypsy Guy Laroche. Yes. So now look, let me show you the actual video, just for the people in the studio. I'm going to show those listening, just so you can see the actual video that Grandma is in fact watching.
This is what Grandma watches.
This is exactly what Grandma is, and you can see it all. So, all right. So here is footage for people listening. I'm showing the footage, the exact same thing. If you're watching the video, it is silent, and you can see that they're fighting, they're battling, they're grappling. They just did a little flip thing and threw it in the middle.
God, dog. That's a lot of action right there.
Man, it doesn't look like much has changed. I'll be honest with you. I'm watching this, and this is like watching wrestling last Friday.
Yeah. There's no flips, but the speed.
But watch this. So this guy's twisted up into the ropes, and then he's trying, and the guy's on the other side trying to strangle the dude. And then he gets out, and then
he's pulling
boom!
Oh,
it just knocks him out.
And
then in return, he goes boom.
Damn, that's dirty.
Yes.
Is that one guy's last name McIntyre?
McIntyre from parts unknown.
I think his grandson still wrestles.
Yeah. So there you go. So there's some French people enjoying the wrestling. Oh, it just got
I love
knocked
this
on
lady
the
in the
butts.
fur coat right there.
And there's the pin. There's the pin. Look at that. He's trying to struggle. He's trying, but he's.
That was that was a very erotic.
Where's the part where she's like, give him a love? Is that mean that audio is random, or does that mean that actually has context to what that match is?
I think the audio was pretty random.
Yeah, the audio was random. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't want to, I don't want nobody getting on wrestling
The
because grandma
joke, of
knows
course,
how
is
to-
that the old woman is all like, the husband's asleep. Now let's watch some good stuff.
Let's just watch real men in the drought.
That's right. Mess him up.
There it is. Do it.
And I mean, personal experience, that is very accurate as far as grandmas.
Absolutely.
I had one just like that.
Totally. Yeah, mine too.
Except she was a lot more verbal.
Yes.
Oh, God.
My grandmother's favorite wrestler was The Godfather. And she loved to climb aboard the hoe train. And she would say, it's time to go to hoe. Yes.
Yeah, my grandmother, she liked Kerry Von Erich. So that was, that was when they did the Texas wrestling that used to come on at night. She loved Kerry Von Erich.
That was my sister's favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun, but like the grandmas got it. Just like grandma here in Carousel Progress. Like if there's some beef guys that draws, like boom, they was body.
Keeps you young.
I miss
That's right.
grandmas.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
really miss grandmas. There's no
This
more
was true.
grandmas no more.
Yeah.
There's Mimis.
Yeah.
And there's Mammies.
Yeah,
And
Susus.
Susus and
Yeah. Chi-Chis and
Grammys.
all them.
And
Kikis.
like there's no mamas no more.
No, because like the grandmas knew what was up, Like,
Right.
And again, like every person who's a wrestling fan probably had a dad that watched it with her, but like your grandma's the one that sold it.
Yeah.
She's the one that jumped
in.
into it. Like just again, like grandma here, give him a left, you big lug.
Loved it. She loved it. So look, anyway, just a quick history on French professional wrestling, because this is something I didn't know. And I thought this was kind of interesting. And for some reason, Disney decided to license that footage.
Yeah.
But apparently, France was among the main European countries responsible for the birth of professional wrestling, along with the UK and Germany.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
they staged some of the first world championship tournaments, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Just to give you kind of context, in the late 19th century, it was more Greco-Roman style. And then in the early 20s, around 1904, it was more the American, Mexican luchador type of stuff that I showed you in the video.
Mm-hmm.
Then World War II happened, so that kind of went down.
Yeah.
And then after that, the second renaissance, kind of like ska, in the 1940s and 50s, is when the second hit came around, and which had more freestyle akin to what was found in England and America at the time. And that's where the clip comes from that grandma's watching.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
I hope that for Carousel of Progress, they don't tear it down so these guys can fight forever.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for at least 30 years, they've been fighting on grandma's little
I see what you
television,
did there.
for Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was going to do the champ, but I was like, nah. I wouldn't do that.
So look, if you're a wrestling fan and stuff or whatever else, you want to see a bit of wrestling history, man, make sure you stop by the Carousel of Progress and help grandma cheer on her favorite wrestler.
Cheer for grandma.
Give him a left, you big love.
That's amazing. I'm not going to look at that the same.
No, me
after
neither,
that.
man. That's like an awesome little bit of trivia.
But the line about giving the left you big lug, I could see why people would think that would be boxing.
Absolutely.
It was not. It was
I always
wrestling.
thought it
Yeah.
was.
Because you don't normally hear that wrestling,
Right.
I guess, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not supposed to hit anybody with a closed fist in wrestling.
Right,
No.
right.
Unless
No.
you're a cheater.
Yeah, a
Which
heel.
apparently Guy LaRoche was a rule breaker.
No.
He was a
He was
heel.
a known
He's the
rule
bad
breaker.
guy.
Yeah, he might have
Guy
been.
LaRoche.
Guy LaRoche. It's always him.
She's a bad boy.
Why are you so bad? Because my name is Guy. But yeah, so there you go. That's the Carousel of Progress. An attraction has an associated with pro wrestling.
Never
Nicely
looked
done.
at it the same way. That
There
will
you go.
change forever. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Ken.
Yeah, I think
absolutely,
Eli's
yeah.
going to start watching a lot more Carousel of Progress when we go.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the king of old school 88, he says, man, check out some French 1940s, 1950s footage, and it's some interesting stuff. So
I enjoyed that clip, actually.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how active they were.
yeah.
yes.
I remember old school wrestling as just grabbing a headlock and sitting in the ring for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you yelling at the audience and
Yes.
pointing. But yeah, that was very active.
I could get into this.
Yeah. There was no. It seems like there was no pattern back then, but there's a pattern now. But yeah, I dug that. I always thought it was. I never paid attention to the screen that Grandma was watching.
It's such a short scene, too. Yeah.
It makes you wonder if Walt picked that particular clip.
He had money on it.
He had money on it. He won. That's how he got Disney.
That's
he won
how
off that fight.
That's how we lost the rabbit. Oswald. That's how we lost Oswald.
No, you think so?
Betting
Yeah.
on wrestling.
He lost like a betting on wrestling. Yeah.
I'm thinking he won it. And that's how he got some of the extra land he could build Disney on. It
Well,
was
he
like,
had to
hey,
sell Oswald to make up for the money he lost.
so,
from
geez,
Oswald, yeah.
put it in your face and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if he was a big wrestling fan, well, then more props to Walt.
Yeah.
As if he doesn't deserve enough, but he's
He
the
might have
father of
been.
imagination. Give him all the props he can. If he put wrestling in it, that's more love right there.
Just think if he would have lived a little bit longer, he would have paid Ric Flair to come on board and be. Come on, he would have been a limousine ride. He would have optioned Space Mountain. It would be Ric Flair Space Mountain.
You gotta. That's true. He did put that on the map.
Space Mountain sponsored by Ric Flair.
Space Mountain sponsored by Ric Flair.
Yeah, RCA
he
never
did
happened
put that
with
on
Ric
the
Flair.
map. That's fair. Not to jump off of things, but that's
Oh wait,
fair.
so
Ric
when you're
Flair
going
put
through the
that on
star
map.
tunnel, you don't hear that weird ethereal sound. You hear woo 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 woo.
16 times.
Limousine riding, jet flying.
Son of a gun.
Son of a gun. Oh my gosh.
All right. So
Okay.
that's probably the oldest example of pro wrestling in Disney period. With Cross
Wow.
Paths. Yeah.
Did not know that existed. Wow, that's awesome.
So most of the stuff will jump to more the present, like
Yes.
the WCW.
Oh boy.
Oh, is that my cue?
Does that work? I don't know.
Not so subtle. Yes.
You gotta bring your tag partner in.
Yeah.
On that.
I'm stretching and reaching.
I'm gonna tag my partner right now for the
Hot
gram.
tag. All
Hot
right.
tag, yes.
So long time. Whoa.
The Haunted Mansion?
That's an Iron
There we
Man
go.
match right there, apparently.
I thought the Undertaker entered the room
Yeah.
for a
Oh
second.
my gosh.
So longtime Disney theme park fans and pro wrestling fans really probably remember that at one point Disney guests could watch professional wrestling being filmed in the Disney theme parks.
What?
Yes. Now
Yeah, buddy.
you may be wondering why Disney, which is a brand that's more recognized as being wholesome, family friendly, uplifting, positive, why on God's green earth would Disney associate itself with a brand that is associated as being kind of violent, tawdry,
Aggro, as they
ultra
say.
aggressive?
Yeah.
Aggro. Say what you will, the world of professional wrestling can be a little,
Strong.
non-Disney like.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. There's no princesses.
Non-PG?
Yeah.
Yeah, non-PG.
It can be a little rough at times.
It's more Hollywood Studios, right? Rather than like Hollywood Pictures, or
It's Touchstone.
Touchstone. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, that's fair.
Maybe not as extreme as
Right.
yeah.
It doesn't really quite fit that Disney branding. So to understand why, we're going to have to go way back here.
How far back?
way back.
Way back.
And go a little something like
Time of the dinosaurs?
This.
No, it's too far.
No, back to a time when Disney's Hollywood Studios was known as Disney's MGM Studio.
My favorite
That's
time. My
way
favorite
back.
time.
Oh,
now,
boy.
I know that all of us in this room remember that Hollywood Studios was once MGM Studios. It operated under a different name for a while. But what some might not know, and again, not anybody in this room, but others who are of a younger generation might not know, is that when Disney's MGM Studios opened in 1989, the original intent of that park wasn't just for it to be a third gate for the Disney theme park division. Quite the contrary. Disney's MGM Studios wasn't even necessarily a full day park at its opening. It was a half day park at best. And that's because nearly half the park was sectioned off as a backlot, complete with a production center, housing sound stages, costume and wardrobe department, post-production, editing and audio department, and of course, there was the city streets of the backlot that resembled the storefronts and shop windows of San Francisco, Chicago, New York, as well as a residential street, which featured some homes that you might recognize from classic sitcoms that were filmed back over there. But that's because in addition to being a theme park, Disney's MGM Studios was also a fully operational TV and movie production studio.
And Battle Station.
Yes.
Lots.
I was wondering if you're going there.
Battle Royal.
I thought that was a good setup.
Battle tested.
For you Star Wars fans out there.
Yes.
Yes.
So the movies that were filmed of them, I mean, they made major movie and television productions right there on the Disney MGM Studios lot. Sounds pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Problem is that most of us who went there in the 90s know, I don't know, some of the younger audience might not, but there never really seemed to be anything all that impressive being filmed at the Disney MGM Studios. In fact, the few movies that were actually filmed there were highly forgettable, say.
I was going to say such.
I don't remember a single one.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're talking Splash 2, TOO,
Oh, gosh.
Ernest Saves Christmas, Disney's Tower of Terror movie starring
The
Steve.
Goot!
The Goot. Yes. But probably the most notable films that were filmed there, Eli will know both of these. Passenger 57.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
No.
Yes.
You got to.
Yes.
Wait,
And
the back? Okay.
and Oscar.
Oh, with
The
Sylvester
Stallone, he played
movie,
them. Yeah,
Nice
so it was a
Gangster.
comedy. Yes.
Oh, wow.
No way. I forgot about that.
Yes,
I
that-
watched that movie.
What backlot would Passenger 57? But
I'm sure they did sound stages and
Yeah.
whatnot for the plane, and I'd have to go
Okay.
back and take a look and see what exterior shots were filmed. over there,
I
but
bet
definitely-
you it's probably when they went and caught the bad guy at the very beginning, because that's the only time there was like a city
street.
Yeah.
That probably was right.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and look at it again.
No,
to,
good.
to Danny's point, they have a lot of the airplane interiors because some of the footage I watched, they had a lot of cutaway airplane things like the tour went through and you could see it.
Okay,
And
well,
they
yeah.
specifically referenced Passenger 57.
There are shots of it.
Yes.
you can
Yes.
still find online. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that part was bad, but Wesley Snipes made that movie. I'm sorry. Please
Yeah.
go for it.
No, so seeing that Disney really didn't have that many of their very own live action movies and TV shows in production at the time, they decided that they would just rent out their sound stages to other productions companies looking for a place to shoot their stuff. So as it happens, right around this exact same time, 1993 to be exact, an ambitious third string C Squad announcer by the name of Eric Bischoff
Oh, wow.
had
Wow.
just been promoted to WCW executive producer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with WCW, it was a wrestling organization founded by Ted Turner in 1988 after Ted acquired the assets of the old National Wrestling Alliance in addition to Jim Crockett Promotions. National Wrestling Alliance, NWA.
NWA.
Yeah.
Yeah, old school.
back-
school.
Not the easy Dr. Dre version, no. The National Wrestling Alliance, NWA. And Ted's design was to compete with the then WWF, now WWE.
Mhm.
And WCW had a lot of recognizable talent on their roster at the time, from Ric Flair to Sting to Dusty Rhodes, Lex Luger, a lot of household names, but there were even a young Mick Foley was wrestling in WCW at the time, a young Triple H.
Oh, wow.
John Paul Leviskey
Terrorizing.
was wrestling there at the time. And Steve Austin got his start
Oh,
as
no way.
stunning Steve Austin.
Stunning
Before he
Steve
was
Austin.
Stone Cold and he shaved the head.
He was stunning.
He was stunning Steve Austin with long, luscious locks. However, for years, WCW had been horribly mismanaged. Prior to Eric Bischoff taking over, WCW was run by a guy by the name of, and I'm sure at least three of us at this table are going to remember this name. Who remembers Cowboy Bill Watts?
Right here.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. Kev?
No.
No, okay. You say you know the 80s. If you growing up in Louisiana, if you knew Mid-South Wrestling was kind of its home was Louisiana.
Oh, was
New
it really?
Orleans, yes.
This is our territory.
Cowboy Bill Watts was an icon down
oh,
here.
no way. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, I only watched like WWF. That's
Yeah.
all I knew.
That was in the early 80s. Well,
Right.
Bill wanted to run wrestling like it was still the 70s, early 80s, which wasn't working so well for WCW in the 1990s. Not to mention, Bill kind of had a penchant for rubbing TBS executives the wrong way with his boorish behavior. Like, there's a famous story that Mike Graham tells that in the middle of a meeting with TBS executives, Bill just wasn't feeling it and just excused himself and walked out of his office, walked out in the balcony and urinated off the balcony of TBS headquarters in front of everybody. Wow. So needless to say, TBS was looking to make a change. And what's more, it was kind of rumored at the time that if WCW couldn't turn a profit sometime soon, Ted was just going to pull the plug on the entire thing. It just wasn't working. Time to move on. So Eric Bischoff puts in his name for the job of executive producer. And he was able to sell the TBS executives on his background as a businessman and kind of an outsider to the wrestling business. He got into this whole announcing gig because he had a pretty face and he was selling Ninja Star throwing games.
Yeah, because he was like a karate guy.
Right.
wow, okay.
Yes. And so he had a business background and he kind of stumbled into this because he was a good looking guy, but he's really an outsider to the wrestling business. And they liked that because after dealing with these ex-wrestlers who are peeing off balconies, they're like, you know what? You might be more of our guy. And what's more, he kind of had a vision to transition WCW wrestling from a business that relied mostly on live events where people would come out to see the show to one that was more of a television property. Because that's how it works is like, the television is the advertisement and then you get people buying the pay-per-view when you get to see the big stars fight.
Right.
No one wants to go pay a lot of money to go see your big stars fight nobodies. So that was what it was going to do. It was supposed to be, hey, we're not going to make all of our money off the live events anymore. We're going to start becoming something on TV that fans are going to really gravitate towards. So prior to 1993, WCW was more like a southern regional territory. So they taped their television shows while they were on the road, which meant that all their TV shows were being taped in these grungy, smoky, dimly lit arenas.
Not packed with anybody.
Yeah,
wow.
There was hardly anybody in attendance. There was little to no production value. At a time where the WWF was just putting on these great shows, they looked just
Dinky.
amateurish
Yeah.
by comparison. So they'd book arenas that were designed to fit, like 5,000 people, but only 500 to 800 people would show up.
Mm.
And that's what allowed these tickets being comped. Like, I remember my dad and I went to go see a WCW show because we got free tickets and there was nobody there. Now we got to watch Steve Austin wrestle. It was at the UNO Lakefront Arena and it was just comp tickets. They gave away a lot of comp tickets just to get as many people in there so their tapings would look like people were showing up.
Full, yeah. But the booking.
When you're giving away tickets like that, guess what? People in the attendance, they're not really fans of WCW. They're just, okay, I got a free ticket,
What we're going to do today.
Yeah, let's show up. But they're not going to bring any fun and energy to the show. Like, only passionate fans who really care about what you're doing are going to bring that level of energy and help take a product that is
mundane and lift
it up because they look like they're into it.
Yeah.
So if you're WCW, how do you deal with this audience full of people who are disinterested and bored? Well, you turn down the house lights. Because you don't want viewers at home seeing a half-empty arena with the few people there looking bored and disinterested.
Right.
They'd be saying to themselves, man, I'm glad I didn't buy a ticket to watch that.
That was
Those people look like they're about ready to fall asleep. So, needless to say, yes, the WCW live show model of business was not doing well. And they had 3 syndicated programs to produce. WCW Worldwide, which at the time was their flagship show, WCW Pro, and WCW Main Event. So Eric Bischoff decided to take WCW off the road and look for a soundstage where he could shoot multiple WCW tapings back to back. Now, this was important because of the issues that we talked about before. One, he could control the environment. So that means the lighting, the sound, the special effects, everything. Because when you think about it, there's a difference between seeing David Copperfield on tour at your local auditorium or arena, or seeing him at Vegas in a theater that's been hosting him for like a year-long run, and therefore every facet of the venue has been customized to make the show look as good as possible.
Is that what they used to do back in the day when they would take the spotlight and just run it through like just various people when these shows would start? Just be like, hey, it's the crowd. That
They want to show you the crowd because look, if the crowd's having fun, that makes you want to be there.
Yeah, but the spotlight would focus only on the people there.
Only people that have fun.
Man, that's
Strategic. Yeah, the strategic.
That's deep. Okay, I get it. Now, I was wondering why that. I was like, man, the crowd must be really special to them. Okay.
But I mean, you can appreciate the genius of this idea, which is that, look, if we got to take this show on the road, which means packing up everything, putting it on a truck, it has to be quickly unloaded, quickly installed, and then broken down again within a day, and then boom, back on the truck and out to the next town. You're not going to get as much of production values where your show looks as good if you could just stay in one place, customize the arena to fit your needs, and show them that. Then that is going to make your product look even better.
Yeah, it makes it way easier.
So that was one of the things that was important to Eric Bischoff. It's just easier when you're not tackling the challenges of adjusting to a new venue with different acoustics, different vantage points, different challenges every single night. You have one place, you stay there for an indeterminate amount of time while you film your show, and you customize everything to make your show look as good as possible.
Yeah, that makes it easier to get your talent and focus on that part of the business.
And so the second thing is that Eric could now make sure that there was a fresh audience for each of the show's tapings. Because when you're shooting 3 television programs back to back, the crowd's going to get bored by the 3rd hour easily.
Right.
I mean, so how do you handle that? Shoot in 45-minute increments. And at every break, take the old crowd out, bring in a fresh crowd, all excited to watch a wrestling show be produced right in front of them.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Yeah.
Like an attraction.
I thought you were going to say
pretty much.
alcohol. That's even better.
Alcohol, they would
Fresh
never
people. You got fresh people.
Yes.
This
Yeah.
guy Bischoff was a genius.
Yes, he was.
He's bad.
Almost like he would revolutionize the whole wrestling game in the 90s.
He did.
Totally did.
Wow.
It's as if you know something about this man.
Why are you here again?
Now, just to be clear, Disney was not Eric's only option. He also considered Universal Studios because they also could offer a similar setup.
Ah.
However, one thing that Disney could offer that Universal could not offer was what?
Buddy.
No.
A location.
No.
Okay.
People that can come in and attend the
No.
tapings.
Universal had people at their parks. Anybody? Anybody?
The audience? Or
Bueller?
the distributor?
No, audience. They can offer an audience. They had people attending their parks.
It was closer for wrestlers to get there as opposed. No, they're all the same
Nope. They're on
place.
Orlando. Co-branding. Think about it.
Yeah, that's true.
That is one thing that Universal could do
Yes.
is co-brand because
Disney.
look,
It's a Disney brand.
it's if Disney and WCW is getting together with this highly successful entertainment juggernaut in Disney, I mean,
Bring your kids. It's safe.
how well does that look? Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's
Nice.
Disney's a trusted brand, so like you link up with them and they must.
Boy,
vet
that
it.
Bischoff is nasty.
Clever, very clever man.
Wow.
Also, the soundstage that Disney presented Eric Bischoff with fit 400 to 500 people. It was designed to fit 400 to 500 people. It wasn't like there's arenas where they needed to fill in 5,000. They wanted it to be small and intimate.
to make it
Right.
look full.
Right,
Well, it's
exactly.
easier to
Every time.
film it too when the
Yeah.
wrestlers come in.
Easier to
everybody's
film.
around
Easier to
there.
film. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the soundstage came equipped with this big round rotating platform in the middle of the soundstage, so that got Eric Bischoff to thinking, well, if you put a ring on this big rotating platform and have it slowly turning during the matches, the audience's perspective would constantly be changing, which added a nice little element to the
feel.
production.
Well, yeah, just kind of like the restaurant in the land.
Yes, exactly. That's it. It is like
love
a
it.
rotating restaurant.
It's a rotating restaurant.
Wow.
And by the way, the soundstage that we're talking about here was located in the building that currently houses Toy Story Mania over at Disney Hollywood
no
Studios.
way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
that's so cool.
That's all mania, brother.
Yeah. The entrance was located where the old entrance to Toy Story Mania
Yeah,
was,
in the
which
back.
is
Yeah.
across from the new Toy Story Mania.
Pixar-
That's so
Yeah.
crazy to think that could have been what it was and now what it is. And
Yeah, so you're watching Toy Story Mania, Sting could have slammed Vader right there.
Right there.
That's
When you're-
history.
Yeah.
You could have been standing where Sting's blood was one day.
Yes.
Somebody won a belt right there when we went on the ride.
Oh, that's right.
That's crazy.
That's awesome, actually.
That's crazy. You think of it like that. Like,
Yes.
dang.
You're like concentrating how many points you're getting. You didn't realize Ric Flair won his 14th championship right there.
Ooh-wee.
Probably not. It was kind of the B-level shows at the time. But from WCW's perspective, shooting at Disney gave WCW lower costs, better production value, a more enthusiastic crowd. And then when you've got that flyover of Disney's MGM Studios in the opening, that's enough for advertisers and potential sponsors to say, hey, if these guys are good enough for Disney, maybe WCW is something we ought to be looking at and getting behind.
You're right, because when they would start those shows, it would just show a bunch of people flocking to the building.
You would see the Eiffel Tower. You would see all of it. Yes. So now we know why WCW would want to pair with Disney, want to shoot at Disney. So naturally, we have to ask ourselves what?
Okay, well, how do you keep everybody interested?
No. Why would Disney want pro wrestling in their theme park?
Because it's awesome.
For boys.
Well, but it doesn't exactly fit the Disney brand, though.
Well, that's
So,
fair, but it is
I like
awesome.
what Kirk said for boys.
For boys.
Because Michael Eisner want to stick it to Millionaire Ted.
No, it does. But okay, but wrestling does have the sense of storytelling. I could be wrong with this, but it has a sense of storytelling. It allows you to still put the Disney brand out there, right? I mean, I don't know. It can be
I'm
really crazy.
disappointed in you guys. I really because if y'all were paying attention, y'all would realize, as I pointed out before, Disney had a bunch of empty sound stages just sitting there collecting dust.
So they got extra money.
yeah.
Right.
They
It's the
got
only thing
extra
that made it
money.
a viable studio.
Right.
Hey.
So Disney made good money by charging WCW for the privilege of recording on their soundstage.
I was trying to have imagination. I forgot to go back to business. What's best for business?
Okay.
Business.
And this is a business company.
Absolutely, got it.
But
Yeah.
there's a second reason as well.
A second reason for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Disney needed quote unquote real television productions to film on their lot to provide that working studio feel that they were supposed to be going for. Because that's what MGM Studios, it was supposed to be like, yeah, come over here and you'll never know what you're going to find. We're going to be filming this. We're going to be making that. This is what it was to go to the MGM Studios. That was part of the promise, is that you might show up and you'd see Bette Midler filming a movie right there on the streets of America. So any of us that went to WCW, anyone of us that went to MGM Studios in the early 90s know that there weren't very many opening day attractions for guests to experience.
Not a lot.
Right? It's pretty dead.
Very limited, yes.
Even Muppet Vision 3D opened up years after, not multiple years, but 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, the tour, animation courtyard.
So, Disney did need the added entertainment of a live wrestling show just to give guests something else to do when 3 o'clock rolled around and they're like, okay, we've seen everything there is to see. It was very much a half-day park.
Very much.
Yes.
And of course, Disney being Disney, and this is still a model they follow with Disney Springs, this additional entertainment for the guests came at absolutely no cost to the Walt Disney Company because WCW is paying to be there.
Oh, that's genius.
Yes. Now, just because Disney was willing to take WCW's money, though, that doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't have any concerns with having wrestling in their theme park.
With the product. Okay. So they didn't watch the product? Literally, we just had a conversation. I'm sorry, so I just want to say Carousel of Progress, as explained to us by Kevin, dictates that Grandma was watching wrestling back in the day. How do they not associate and say, so
you say Grandma brought this in?
I'm just saying, this is Grandma's fault.
Grandma wanted
this. Grandma's fault.
Yes.
There's one thing to have a 30-second clip. I wouldn't even say that. A 5-second clip.
That much,
that most people thought was boxing as a way to show Grandma being funny. There's another thing to be able to say, okay, now watch a guy get hit over the head with a steel chair.
Okay, that's fair. Things advanced a little bit, but I guess my point is that it was introduced in that attraction. How do they not just say, okay, well, what is this if we're going to, have money pulled in for it? I guess
just keep in mind that wrestling in the 40s changed a lot in the 90s.
Oh, totally.
You talk about the era of ECW where things were starting to get a little bit more mature.
But but things were really getting big back then, like 80s, 90s. I mean, merchandising was big, and I knew Disney was about that. Yeah. I knew Disney was about merchandising.
They were about that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they want to be like, hey, come over to MGM Studios and watch a guy get busted open with a steel chair.
Boom.
Yeah. Let your kids see the proverbial crimson mask.
I mean, it's like bibbidi bobbidi oops. Yeah. I get
you.
So, bibbidi bobbidi
I was going to say bibbidi bobbidi ouch. Yeah.
Oh, snap.
So one of Disney's conditions for hosting WCW at MGM Studios, which I thought to be funny, was that Disney wanted the WCW wrestlers not to show up in their own vehicles. Instead, they wanted them to come over on a bus because they thought if WCW wrestlers were wandering through the park, it might scare the children. What? Yes. Well, think about it. What if you're walking through the park and Vader walks right up to you? Or the Road Warriors?
I feel like that's awesome.
You would.
I would.
I would too. But
yeah, if you're a boy, you're like, that's awesome. We're assuming that, well, Disney is assuming that, if I'm following this right, that anyone that was a kid wouldn't have followed wrestling back then when it was, I don't know, it was huge.
But okay, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah,
we'll address the second part of that in a second.
They should have built tunnels. That's what they should have done.
Because it was in cartoons.
No.
It was toys. It was a lot of stuff back then.
In the 80s. We're talking about
This is 90s, yeah.
Early to mid 90s is where we're talking about now. And wrestling had changed.
Yeah, that's fair. It wasn't
So Disney even took it a step forward by insisting that the windows of the buses or vans that the wrestlers were traveling, and they had to be covered so that guests wouldn't see a group of wrestlers showing up on a bus at MGM Studios.
Okay, well, that makes sense for kayfabe purposes, right?
Well, I mean, I don't think that...
I don't think it had much to do with kayfabe.
I don't think
that's fair.
Disney was caring about the whole kayfabe option. You could have had a heel bus and a babyface bus. You could have done that, but they just did not want the Disney theme park audience
to just see those guys running
Right.
around. Okay.
And more on that later. I'll get to it because I'm gonna cover what it is I think that you're kind of hinting towards, which is a valid point.
you got me hooked right here in this topic.
Let me guess. Operated by mirrors? Is that what it is? Is that the precursor to Magical Express?
Yes. Gus was driving the bus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
That's what I thought.
We want your money, but we don't want to see you. So we'll take you in through a bus, slide into a soundstage all the way to the back of the studio part of the park where nobody can see unless they go in there.
And that was absolutely 1,000% true, Kirk, because once they were there, the wrestlers were confined to the soundstage area. They were not permitted to leave the soundstage area because, again, Disney didn't want them walking around the park frightening the guests.
Don't ruin the magic.
Yes.
Jeez, it's
Could've built
crazy.
tunnels.
They larger
Here's
than
another
life.
thing. Here's another thing that
All
Disney
right.
did.
All right.
Disney also didn't give the WCW wrestlers any breaks on staying on Disney property. There was no break for the room rates that the wrestlers had to pay or the production crew. They could not stay on Disney property. It wasn't financially feasible. So if they didn't want to stay on Disney property,
Okay, now that sounds like Disney.
That's a load of bullshit.
Yeah, but
right
that
there.
is
I'm
bull.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
they would have had to pay rack rates in order to stay on Disney property.
But they're performing for a Disney audience essentially, or making
They're
Disney
contract
money.
workers for Disney.
That's so bad. Like,
That's sad.
You saw what John Stamos did in that hot tub. What do you think a bunch of wrestlers would do?
okay,
John Stamos ruined it for all the wrestlers.
well, the wrestlers should freaking pedigree John Stamos then for what he did because.
Come here, you beach boy.
Yeah, come here. Raw! Like, wrestlers don't get too many breaks when they
Right.
do
Yeah.
this travel. That go ahead, man. That's wrong. Though. I'm just saying that's wrong.
That's tough, man.
That's
So
wrong.
That's
what
not
did
right.
WCW do about it? They did what a lot of us who are looking to save money on our Disney vacation do. They stayed off site at the Marriott Courtyard Suites. And they had barbecues and everything back at the room. They invited their families. And apparently this became like a really big bonding session for them. They actually had a great time.
That's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
you remember that time at the Marriott?
Remember that time Mickey screwed us?
I loved it.
Okay.
Couldn't believe it.
192.
So to get to the point that Eli was making, though, and this is kind of where I wanted to address this, another stipulation. I mean, this is like a lot of stipulations that Disney has.
It's
But
a
This
lot.
is heavy.
That's a
This
hell
is
of a
heavy,
writer.
D. This is heavy what you thought. This is
It's a
shooting.
lot.
This
It's
is heavy.
It's like a
lot.
steel cage match with a lot of stipulations.
yes.
A ton.
Bloodline rules, brother.
Literally hell in the cell.
Another stipulation was that Disney did not allow WCW to promote their events at MGM Studios.
Well, how are they supposed to get people to come?
Let me finish.
Please, sir, do.
So WCW couldn't advertise their tapings in advance. They couldn't say, hey, come buy tickets for such and such date. Hey, come see us at such and such time. Why? Because Disney did not want a wrestling crowd showing up to its theme parks. They wanted to keep it family friendly by being in control of the fans who were in attendance.
What?
So in their mind, WCW was just be like another attraction, you know, like you show up and, oh, look, there's Muppet Vision 3D. There's a great movie ride. And oh, there's wrestling being taped there today.
Yeah, this Lex Luger and Buff Bagwell hanging out.
So about an hour before the
Oh my
tapings,
God.
Disney would send wranglers out through the parks with flyers, and they would just start handing them out to guests, advertising that wrestling was about ready to take place.
They had barkers and shit?
Yes, wranglers. They called them wranglers.
Wranglers. Oh,
Wranglers,
whatever.
Kevin. Wranglers.
They had Mr. Potato Head out there. Right?
Come on, get your tickets. Get your tickets
They had
right here.
a barker.
Right here. All the shows you want. Who do you want to see?
So yeah, that's how they would do it. They would let the guests who were already in the parks know about the tapings with no prior promotion whatsoever. WCW was forbidden from promoting it in advance. And once guests showed up, because now you got an audience, but like these guests might not even know what WCW is.
Exactly.
So they would show them videos to show the guests beforehand who to cheer, who to boo, who's good guys, who's bad guys. So that way
That's
people unfamiliar with it would know. And they even had like an MC that would like kind of like hip the crowd to who you're supposed to boo and who you're supposed to cheer.
Wait. You mean in that they knew what the card was and what the result was, and that's what they were promoting to the audience?
No. I'm saying when the audience got in there, they would be like, oh, look, here's Vader, and look at him cheating, and look at him doing this, and look at him doing that. And here's Sting, and look at him saving that poor person.
wrestler
Yes,
from
and,
being jacked.
and look at him, he got jumped from behind. What a coward Vader is. And they would show this to you to kind of program you as to what you should do. And if you you still got lost in the middle of the show, they would have an MC that would be like, boo. And then you'd follow the MC.
I feel like I need to yell out kayfabe.
Because
wait a minute.
There's so much. So
We're
many.
ruining the magic of wrestling. Damn
It's
it.
killing me right now.
No.
It's killing me. On so many levels, it's killing me. Because number one is like, okay, first of all, if Disney is doing something we've talked about in past shows.
Imagine that Disney trying to control your emotions.
It goes back to the 90s.
Because it's like, we only want elite. And it's like, not all elite, but
you go somewhere else.
they want all paid.
They were at Universal.
Yeah, all
Elite was at Universal.
But that's so cold.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're thinking that the average wrestling fan doesn't think is like a huge person with a big beer belly and a t-shirt only meets by their nipples. Like, I won't see wrestling.
That's exactly what they thought was going to show.
That's what I'm saying.
Or can't afford Disney.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
What is going on? If they want money, they want profit, they want studio. If the guy with the t-shirt up to his nipples who likes Sting can afford to do the Disney vacation, isn't that?
But they're not worried about the wrestling crowd. They're worried about their crowd.
They're stereotyping.
Yeah.
They're stereotyping.
There you go.
That's what I'm
Discrimination.
saying. Yeah, Disney for everybody, but not
We know
wrestling.
the kind of people that like to watch wrestling.
Oh, my
we don't want
goodness.
them at our place.
I mean, I'm just saying it's been a while since I had a t-shirt up my nipples, but still, I like to watch wrestling.
It's like that old saying, they love the fruit, but they hate the tree.
Yeah, I feel that.
So I can't wear my
That killed me
t-shirt.
to hear that.
I can't wear my
We
t-shirt.
got a roundabout year.
What
of this.
wrestling you
Can you
rooting for?
pinpoint to one where this happened?
This is around 94.
Dang.
Well, probably around 93 because things change in 94 because Hulk Hogan was also on the Disney World lot at this time filming a little TV show called Thunder in Paradise.
That is exactly right.
By this time, Hulk Hogan had retired from pro wrestling to pursue a career in acting.
I remember this.
And his show, Thunder in Paradise, was a low-budget action-adventure show from the creators of Baywatch.
Yes.
That followed two ex-Navy SEALs fighting crime in their high-tech boat.
The boat was cool.
Off the Gulf Coast. And I think I'm going to let Kevin take it from here because I think Kevin's got the next part of the story.
Exactly.
Oh, you going to sing the song?
Look, man.
Hot tag.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to talk about Thunder in Paradise,
Well, yeah.
but we're going to wait till next week.
no.
Wait.
That's a
gotta wait till-
swerve.
Hold up a second.
He swerved us.
It
My
is.
God. My
Gotta
God.
do it.
I thought I had to make another trip up here next week.
You do.
talk about
got to.
Well, you know what?
You got to.
That's
Fire
awesome.
up the pontoon.
Come on. Iron Man match.
Get that airboat going, Bubba.
Do it.
I look forward to it.
That's what I'm
Eli,
talking
H.
about.
Ivory, 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks.
My cup runneth over.
I said, I got 2 words for you. Show up.
I see that. It is getting all over Danny's
Oh,
table.
wow.
Yeah.
It's a rather
Yeah.
impressive amount of
I know.
That's it.
Well, you
For
know,
a man your age.
well, hey, look,
Can't stop, won't stop, baby.
I'm gonna show up for Eli.
That's it.
All right, well, it's good.
This is amazing.
So look, man, let us know your thoughts and your stories about pro wrestling and the Disney, period. Whether it's the movies, the parks, whatever else. And we're about to tell you how to do that in just a little bit. Well, y'all, we hope you enjoyed hearing these tales of pro wrestling and Disney colliding in their paths or whatever. This is only part 1. Stay tuned for next week, part 2. You're going to hear more stories, man. It's awesome. Look, if you want to learn more about us, follow us on any social media platform. Also, if you want to share with any stories or your opinions on pro wrestling and Disney, you can do so through the following ways. Shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com or call or text us at 1815-MO-WEEKEND. That's 1815-669-4226. 669-4226. And of course, we have a couple people do things outside of the podcast. First of all, we got Eli, does things with comics. Eli, what you got, sir?
Yes, sir. I tell you what, this was amazing. What also is amazing is when you follow the Ivory Comics website. So ivorycomics.com. You see everything I got right there. Project Geisha, Savages, Molly Be Damned. Fully colored pages. It's more than you'll get for the big 2. You'll also get an interview, the blog, and of course, a link to the Magic Our Way podcast. You never miss a beat. You never miss an episode. You never miss who showed up to take that pin because grandma wanted to see it. The carousel of progress right there. So as far as I'm concerned, I got 2 words for you with the Ivory Comics site. Read it. All right.
Read it.
Read it. Also on social media, you can find me there, Eli H. Ivory. As long as you're a real person, it's a pleasure to meet y'all. Shake your hand and kiss your babies. But if you're a bot, I'm going to pedigree you right there. No more talks about how to figure out how to get to WrestleMania next year while trying to ride a slow ski, and all kind of other crazy stuff. Bots got nothing to do with you. Please leave me alone. But real person, it's a pleasure. Eli Ivory is where you'll find me there. Also on Facebook is Project Geisha fan page. So Facebook.com/Project Geisha. Also on Instagram, posting up the hearts and the likes to see what you guys got. There's a lot of beautiful lives going on out there. It is an honor to be part of the Mohican community and see what everybody has gone. A quick shout out to my man Jay. Remember, we went on a vacation one time, met this man just on the plane. Told him he was doing the show. He was like, oh, that's awesome.
I heard this story.
Like, again, these people posting up stuff, and I'm like, man, love to see what you're doing. And look, that's the heart right there of the Mohican community right there. So again, EI504 is where you can find me there. And of course, on X, where WWE does a show called Speed, actually. Not the drug. It's actually a wrestling show.
I would hope not.
Yeah. It's Hancock 166. So yes, if you appreciate the madness, you just bring me the glass. And this show was awesome, guys. I am looking forward to the next one. Thank you both very much.
You're very welcome.
Very welcome, man. Look, and if you want to book a vacation to visit those historical places where titles might have been won, you can go smell whatever they got cooking.
Yeah.
You can do it with Rachel.
I would be honored to help your family book your vacation to Disney destinations, Universal, cruise lines, and major hotel brands around the world. Booking with me is at no extra cost to you. The cost of a travel agent is built into the cost of your vacation, whether you use one or not. And when you book with me, a little bit of your trip comes back to support the podcast and the fan community here at Magic Our Way. You can reach me at Rachel, Rachel, at magicourway.com. Or you can find me at R, the letter R, Family Magic. So Our Family Magic on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. You can also give me a call or a text. My phone number is 978-432-WISH. Reach out today and let's make some magic with your family vacation.
And of course, we have to thank our very special guest, the invaluable Captain Cajun Chavez, or his alter ego, the Pixie Kirkster. Kirk, coming up from the bayou in your airboat. Man, thank you for coming.
My pleasure as always. It's been a long time.
It's been too long, man.
First time, long time.
Yeah. So thanks for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me.
I look forward to seeing you in the next week when we do part 2.
Oh, yeah. I'll be back. Hopefully it won't be as raining as hard.
It's always raining as hard.
That was tough.
I mean, I'm used to going through water, just not like that.
We're raining dollar bills, y'all.
I wish that was the case.
I was making it rain.
Get my
studio.
That's right. That's what we do when Kirk's around.
As they say, cho. It was raining, Cap. It was raining there.
Right?
Cho.
Pluvé.
Yeah.
Cho.
Doggy dog.
Let me tell you. Oh, no. Cho. That was some rain.
No, it was.
It rained so bad. I hopped in a hollow out log and I rode down the mountain.
Are you saying it? It rained so bad the devil took a dip in there, came out cold.
I was looking for Dr. Facility. He's nowhere around. I have no idea why not.
He got banished.
Yeah.
He's in St. Louis Cemetery number 2.
Bye.
All the X's across the...
Yeah, it's got all the X's. Yeah. Good luck on that tour.
Play the death toll right there.
And we look, y'all. In addition, you can go to patreon.com/Magic Our Way to elevate your support of the Magic Our Way podcast. Another option that only costs a minute or so of your time is to leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts and wherever you access our show, whether it is YouTube, Spotify, Podbean, etc. Any way in which you can support the show is deeply appreciated. We also want to thank you for being a loyal listener, and we always love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are always welcome to the Magic Our Way podcast, so make sure you get in touch with us today. So we say Kwaharini, my name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Magic out.
All right, nachos are on plates.
And you are. Bye.